the buttons. Okay, so go ahead and put in your chin. I should squeeze that over a little bit more. Yeah, I did. And your egg head. Okay, go ahead and put in the neck. Okay. And when you're ready, you say go, and you're going to watch the first line. Go? All right. So we're going to come, actually, let's come pretty close to the neck this time, because we're going to, all right, so it's pretty close, but it is extended. See how it's extended a little bit above the shoulder? All right, we're going to pull the line down like we're making a V-neck, but we're going to go past that center front, and then you can use a ruler or not, and we'll draw the line vertically and parallel to the center front. Okay, once you've done that, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, kind of eyeball, but we're pretty close this time to the neck. But this time, same thing, you're going to pull it right down. You're going to ignore this line. You're going to pull it right down there to center front, because that's the extension for the button or overlap. So right down to center front and meet right at that center front line. Everybody with me? I'll give you a second there to catch up. And at that point, you could go ahead and show that little bit. We're seeing just a little bit of the trapezius there. So this line comes down, draw a line parallel, and then bring the other side down and meet at center front. Okay, everybody still with me? Mm-hmm. Ready to go? Yeah. Okay, now what we're going to do is plot a point where we're going to draw our notch lapel. So any place, so I'm going to go about a third of the way down, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a line at an angle out, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So kind of eyeball and figure out about the same point, and just draw an angled line out. That's going to be the notch in the lapel. So two lines, here and here. Okay, now look up for a sec, because what we're going to do, the lapel rolls from this point. So from that point right there, it's kind of, I'm going to curve the line just a little bit and pull this line down. And we're starting to have a notch in our lapel. So rather than be just a straight line, though, this is where you want it to look, because it's almost like an S shape or a slight curve there, because a lapel will roll there. Okay, now this is the tricky part. Now imagine, you don't have to draw this, just watch me for a sec. Imagine that, okay, if our buttons are right here, on center front, the buttons are, here's the buttonholes are on this side, right? The buttonholes are on this right side of the garment in this case. All right, because right over left. Women button on the right, because women are always right and men are left over. Just sorry, Roberta. Right over left. Okay, so anyways, I got the right side of the garment here, so that's where the buttonholes are, but the buttons are on the part underneath, but they have to be attached to something. So what's happening here is this line, this fabric is actually extending the same amount as this on this side, and that's the extension for the buttons. But don't draw that, now you just know it's there, you're just pretending it's there. All right, so in that case, when this lapel comes back down, it would be doing the same thing as this is right here. So in other words, you wouldn't come to nothing right here. You would come to wherever, so then, see what I mean? There'd be a little bit of fabric there, and then it would scoop down to there. But you don't need to draw this part underneath. I just wanted to show you what's happening underneath. So go ahead and draw this side, but don't draw it to nothing, not right to that point. Actually leave a little bit of fabric there.
So the point for the first one, I feel like
You mean right here?
Yeah, when you didn't.
I know it's heavy. I got a heavy line there now, but the idea is rather than just like this comes down and there's a sharp angle, but you just make this kind of a soft angle, because the idea is, the fabric is there on a lapel rolls over. It doesn't, so it'll look funny if it's a straight angled line. So you just give it a little bit of curve there, a little movement.
But they both should look the same length. Yours that looks the same length, mine looks shorter on my right, your left.
You mean this, the part?
That one looks shorter for mine, so I didn't.
Mine is a
maybe
little,
the same, maybe?
mine is, yeah, ideally, yes, of course, you're trying to get them the same so they look symmetrical. But just like somebody in the back said, it takes, could take practice.
Yeah.
Okay, are we ready to continue?
Yes.
Okay, because, go ahead and look, because the next thing we're going to do is look here. So we've made this line come out here and here, right? Now we're going to make a little V shape. That's going to be the top part of the collar, the upper collar. So just a little V shape from here and here. So in other words, this is what I'm talking about. There's your V. Do the same thing on both sides. And we're going to connect the dots here in a minute. Everybody got their V's?
Can you zoom in? Yeah.
Oh, zoom in. Okay, let me see if I can do that. I might be able to. Oh. I think I'm in as far as it'll go. Yeah, sorry, that's as far as it zooms.
My lapel is jacked up.
Oh, nothing's happening. I'm hitting the button and nothing's happening. Oh, you know what? I wonder if it won't zoom when I'm recording. I think it's because I'm recording, because I'm hitting the button and nothing's happening. I would have to stop the
When
recording.
you drew your V,
This part
your
right here.
line, your ending line is going toward, okay, I just saw it.
Okay, here, let me finish that side of the collar, and I think it'll make sense. All right, this is the cool part. So we've been just barely bringing that line out behind the neck, but this time we get to go up a little higher on the neck. Come out, so look up for a second, because here, see, here's where I've extended. Come out behind the neck, slope down just next to this line that we've made. Slope down to the shoulder, and then look here, it connects the dot, and there's your collar. Magic. Linda's
Too bad my magic didn't work.
I'll do the other side, so if you want to see again.
Yeah,
So
that's
coming
what
out from behind, slope down to the shoulder. All right, and then the line connects, and bam, you just drew your first notch lapel collar. Yes.
So use the line that's going to be like horizontal or
Slightly angled, that's a good question. So just a little slight angle down, and then another angle down to the neck, and then continue to that point. And we basically just kind of connect the dot, and you could have, just put a little scoop neck underneath there if you want, have a little t-shirt or something underneath. And then I'll go ahead and bring the shoulder out. I'll put in my shoulder seam, and we could have a whole jacket, but I don't think we will. We'll just do the neckline. But anyways, I'm freewheeling. I wasn't planning on doing that, but it just looked fun. Okay, let's see, what else? What other V-necks? Oh, asymmetrical V-neck. Why not?
Can you,
They come in and out of
can
fashion
you
about
do
every...
this one again? Because I mean, you're on to the next lapel, but I'm still struggling on this one.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go straight through this and not stop this time, okay?
Okay.
All right, so just if you'd like to see that one more time, putting in the chin and the neck. Okay, then I came close to the neck and I pulled down to center front and went past center front. And then I drew that parallel line with center front. Come back up to the top again on the other side of the neck, close to the neck, and pull down to center front, so that center front dotted line. Okay, then I went back up and
that's what I missed.
and I went back up, and here, I'll show you that curved line in a minute. Went back up and found, okay, where am I gonna put my notch? Oh, about here. So I draw those lines, angled lines coming out. Now, here's the cool part, because I could show you what it looks like. Here, in fact, let's compare. I know there's a lot going on over here, but, what not to do and what to do. Okay, here's what to do. Slightly curved, give it a little shape, slightly curved. Okay, now,
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting it better.
to
now.
show you I'll show the what not to do next. Okay, then we know that there's an extension underneath there. There's buttons. All right, so it's got to basically come over here is where that collar, so anyways, I'm bringing this down and pretending I'm drawing it over here to connect. So I have a little bit of space right there. Okay, then I come back up and I put my V shape. And you know, notch collars have different shapes, so you can kind of determine what angle you'd want. Okay, now we're going to come out from behind the neck, and this is the cool part, a slight downward angle, very slight though, then down to the shoulder, and then connect the dot. Come out from behind the neck, slight angle down to the shoulder, connect the dot, and that is a notch lapel. I'll come in, put my shoulder line in, my sleeve seam, and that's the beginning of a jacket or a blouse with a Revere collar.
That was easier to, for some reason in my mind, grasped it a lot better to say.
Cool. Well, we'll just do it twice every time then. Okay, now this one's
Of a slow in the front.
going to be really easy in comparison to what we just did. Okay, so we'll just go ahead. So asymmetrical V necklines. I'm going to just squeeze it in over here, so I'm just going to put it right up here because it doesn't get a whole lot of importance. They come into fashion about every, 5 years, and they stay about 15 minutes, and then they're gone again.
It's all the weird asymmetrical blouses.
Yeah, not just asymmetrical blouses, but the asymmetrical neckline. Okay, so here's what, instead of coming all the way to center front, let's see, we would come here and then we'd come from this, about the same point on the other side. Okay, wait a minute, extend my line a little bit and then pull it over. And then I put in my neck and then I come from behind the neck and down, from behind the neck and down. All right, how many own an asymmetrical V-neck in your closet? Aha, one person. Anybody else? You got one? Okay, cool. I don't have
I love
one.
angles.
It just, for me, it's like it always falls at a weird part on your, like, it shows your bra
I
strap
don't
in weird
know if
colors.
I've ever bought one, but they come in and out of
Well,
fashion all
and
the time.
wrap stuff is recommended. if you're
That's a
busted,
surplus.
Right?
That's a surplus. Let's draw
Yeah,
one.
until you walking and then your whole top
No.
wraps so
Oh, you
you
just
can
made me
add,
reminded me. Let's
Yeah.
do, that's a
So
V-neck.
wrap.
Let's do a surplice. We're gonna draw that next.
Okay.
That'll be fun.
be all cool till your chest out.
Where's the top under it?
Well, that defeats the whole point. It is not for the
I'm sorry?
video.
Of course. Feel like, ma'am, your chest.
That's on magazines all the time.
Yeah, you have a malfunction. Then it's not so cheap.
You reminded me, there's this
Especially when you're out in public and there's people's children around.
There's this weird show on called High Maintenance. I think it's on HBO. Have you watched it? Did you see the episode where the one girl would like expose her boobs? Like she'd just like pull her boob out and then answer the door with she was selling stuff. It was such a weird episode.
Gosh.
Out of control.
See, this is why I don't like to record myself. I always tell these weird stories.
Oh, is it recording your time?
It's recording
Still
everything.
recording everything.
Everything we say is being recorded right now. Okay, here we go.
Somebody will get a kick out of this later.
Oh my gosh. So this is called surplus?
No, that's a asymmetrical V-neck, what we just did. Oh,
Right.
oh, what we're going to do is the
Yeah.
surplice, yes. So I'm going to write asymmetrical V-neck. And that's what, and I'm going to draw it one more time, and then we're going to do a surplice, which is more fun. Okay, so the asymmetrical V-neck, we start by extending that line just slightly above the shoulder, and then you just kind of decide where do you want to pull the line down to, because it doesn't come to center front, it goes somewhere else on this side of the body. Then you eyeball about where you started that line here, and you do the same thing on this side, but this time you pull it all the way over. Okay, now you'll do the same thing, come from behind the trapezius muscle there, just slightly over that line, scoop down to the shoulder, and that is your asymmetrical neckline. You can put in your pit of the neck and your clavicle, and asymmetrical V-neck. I'm going to go ahead and reposition my paper, it's okay with you, and get ready to draw the surplice. And maybe I'll come back up here. I can always cut part of this away. So surplice is my favorite style of swimwear. We'll be making, that's the, Keisha, oh no, you're not in swimwear. No. So who's in swimwear? Linda? All right, that's going to be the piece de resistance at the end of the semester. It's a good challenge. Okay, ready for the surplice? Okay.
S-U-R-P-L-I-C-E, right?
Yes, S-U-R-P-L-I-C-E. Surplice, it's also, you hear it sometimes pronounced surplus or surplice. Okay, and you see this style in swimwear, you see it in kind of a wrap dress type thing. Not a Diane von Furstenberg exactly, but okay, here we go. So we're going to just plot, about how far you want that, how deep do you want it, and start the line just slightly above the shoulder and go ahead and pull that line all the way over to the side of the body. So instead of stopping it, just bring it all the way down to the side. I'm going to go ahead and put my neck in. I'll go ahead and put in my trapezius muscle. Okay, now what we're going to do is find, so where you started here, eyeball the same distance on this side, and go ahead and pull the line right down to center front. So it meets right there at center front.
Oh yeah, these are the ones that hate these shirts.
These ones that you get exposed, huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right, now what we're going to do, easy, the line's going to come from behind the trapezius, just slightly over that line we extended, or right to the top of it, and then scoop down to the natural shape of the shoulder. So behind the trapezius, and down to the next natural line of the shoulder. Let's go ahead and put in a sleeve seam, or you know what, better yet, let's even scoop out that arm's eye a little bit. So, you know what, we can make it like it's going to be a swimsuit by just scooping it out a little bit. Go ahead and trace the figure there down to the waist. You could even trace it a little further if you want. Angle down. You know what, while we're here, we haven't got to draw blouses and skirts yet, but let's go ahead and talk about this. So if you've ever taken just a basic drawing class and learned about one-point perspective, many of you probably have, right? All right, so when you learn about one-point perspective, the idea, and this is really abbreviated, okay, but the idea is that you have a horizon line and you have the vanishing point, and at that vanishing point, that's where, everything vanishes, and so the idea is something here looks much bigger than something here at this vanishing point. It's a scale thing. Okay, so on a figure, the horizon line, to create depth and a three-dimensional quality on a figure, the horizon line is the waist. So think of it as the waist. All right, so at the waist of the figure, the line you want to show, but waists are round, bodies are round. I mean, really, there isn't anything square about our body. Our body's are round, Okay, so we want to show the roundness of the figure, by showing a curved line at the waist. Now, at the waist, it's a horizon line. It can have a slight curve up, or it can have a slight curve down. Either way is acceptable and fine. It's just showing the horizon line. But if we were to draw a top that ended above the waist, or there's a seam above the waist, such as an empire line, we give it an upward curve. I'm going to not do that, though, because I realize I've got to finish my surplice, because most surplice will have gathers over at the waist. So let's give that a try. Now, drawing gathers, we're going to draw some of these tonight, and they're going to be a lot of fun. It's like, I'm going to just say, it's like drawing an M with a tail. And these, trust me, Keisha, they take practice. So they're going to look weird tonight, but you'll eventually get the hang of it. Let's see, we'll be drawing, and next to it, we're going to be drawing full skirts. So here, an M with a tail, an M with a tail, an M with a tail, an M with a tail. You can just kind of try that for a minute. Just think of it as an exercise to loosen the wrist. So, and then you can go over here and just kind of try it on your surplice. And now we got a little surplice top. Oh, here, better yet, I'll put a skirt on her. M with the tail, backwards M with the tail. Just do a few, don't worry about it, don't stress. Just loosen the wrist. Okay, a few more necklines and then we'll take a break. How about that? I have no idea what time it is. That clock, I've got to put in a work order, the darn clock.
7-11.
So let's see. Oh, yeah. All right, a few more necklines and then we'll take a break. So just squeeze them all on that tracing paper. And of course, there's tracing paper up by Jamila. You can go up and get another piece if you need. But just squeeze as many in there as you can. I'm going to turn mine upside down and keep going.
Yeah, actually need to sketch mine too.
Okay, so that pretty much does V-necks. Let's go to square necklines.
Oh, 'cause I was like,
So go ahead and tape your paper down. Okay, so we'll draw a square neckline. We'll draw a square neckline. We'll draw one with a button front. We'll draw a sweetheart neckline and there's something we're forgetting. Oh, the Queen Anne neckline. It's not on here. So we'll draw a sweetheart and a Queen Anne, and then we'll take a break. So we got 4 necklines, guys. We can do it. I'm going to push you. Okay, so square neckline, easy enough. Go ahead, put in your chin. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead. However you want to plot is as if you wanted to draw the line first, the horizontal line, and kind of imagine how wide you want your square. I'm going to give my square neckline a slight angle. All right, now I'm going to extend that line slightly above the natural shoulder. I can go ahead and put in my trapezius muscle. Then I've got to eyeball, all right, if it's that far over here, how far is it here? And I think I'm over just a little bit. So you could even measure if you want to. We could do that. We could take our ruler. Let's see, from my center front, it's a 1/2 inch. All right, I'll do the same thing on the other side. That 1/2 inch. All right, there we go. Should be more symmetrical. Okay, cool. All right, so you get your square neckline in, you get your trapezius in. Now you're just going to come from behind, over the line, and then slope to the shoulder. From behind, over the line, slope to the shoulder. Go ahead and put in your sleeve seam, or sleeveless seam, it doesn't matter. Pit of the neck, clavicle, and that is a square neckline. So, of course, the hardest thing probably is just making sure that it's symmetrical again. So trying to get this space from this side to the center, the same as the other side from the side to the center. Trying to get this angle the same. And of course, that angle could vary. I mean, not on one neckline, but it could be straighter. So it's kind of up to the designer to decide what angle you want, or pattern maker. Okay, I'm going to reposition my paper. You didn't ask for a repeat of that, so we'll go ahead and we'll go to the one with the buttons, and then we'll get the Sweetheart and the Queen Anne in. Okay. Going to go ahead and put in the chin, the neck. All right, so same thing this time. If you want to kind of find that horizontal line first and just lightly sketch it in, that's probably a good idea. Let's go ahead and decide how far away from the neck we want our square. And kind of eyeball that space. Bring both lines down, put in the trapezius. Okay, now same thing, we're going to draw a line parallel to center front that will be the extension for our buttons. The buttons will go right on the center front line. And ideally, again, we want this to look like it's overlapping, so it's actually a good thing if this is a little bit higher and this is just a hair lower, just a smidge, just so it looks like it's overlapping. All right, come from behind the neck, above that line, to the shoulder, put in your sleeve seam, and now you've got a square neckline. That one's got with button front. So that's a square neckline with the button front.
So are we drawing the flap that's underneath a little lower still, like the others?
Yeah,
It's
so,
just a
so
touch
this,
lower.
this right
It
side,
looks like it's overlapped.
yeah, the right
Okay.
side would be the side that, is on top. So that would be, so this second line would be a smidge, like a hair lower.